This time of year is so exciting. Fresh pencils, fancy pens, empty exercise books, Freshers' Week, the first sight of that Christmas shortbread in the shops, and Strictly, giving us a reason to haul ourselves through Q4. And we'll be with you every increasingly confident step of the way. That's not the actual theme, but we'll just keep rolling along. Hello and welcome to the Keep Dancing podcast. I'm Ellie and I'm your host. Tonight I'm joined by Meg. Hello. Elliot.
Hello.
Emily.
Hello.
And Vikki.
Hey.
We are your 100% unofficial, unexpurgated and super organised source of Strictly Come Dancing analysis and opinions. We are not neutral, we aren't always polite, but we do love a journey. If you'd like to get in touch with us, email us at keepdancingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @keepdancingpod. And we're on a bunch of different platforms now, all the usual podcast platforms, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube. And there's a website at keepdancingpodcast.com where we'll be archiving the Frocks of the week. And if you enjoy what you hear, please tell your friends about the podcast. Whether they watch Strictly or not, I mean, they'll get something out of it anyway. So guys, we're doing this thing again. How is everybody?
Really good.
Because me and Meg are on holiday together in Whitby, and so I'm podcasting right into her face, which is not how we normally do this. We already had the launch show. Meg and Vikki, you weren't able to make it the launch show. Is there any sort of statements that you would like to commit to pod before we launch into the analysis this week?
I just feel like the camera lingered a lot on Jamie, which was really unfortunate and kind of made me snigger a little bit each time. But other than that, mainly just opinions about Motzi and Kevin, which you all are very familiar with.
And we'll be getting lots more opinions on Motzi and Kevin throughout the night. But one thing that we did forget to mention in the launch show, and one thing that Strictly also forgot to mention in the launch show, was fantastic new pro Nancy.
Yes. Who was conveniently ignored in the main show last night.
Yeah, so I guess we'll be seeing her throughout the series in the pro numbers and popping up in the background in Musicals Week and stuff.
And hopefully she'll be as charismatic as so many of the other pros that haven't got celebs.
At least as charismatic.
Yes.
Right, let's play a bumper and then we'll start rattling through these 15 incredibly long dances. Dancing a quick step that fizzes, bubbles and pops like pretend Prosecco, it's Alex Scott and her partner Neil. Yay! So Neil finally gets a partner and they do just seem to be having terrific fun. And it's usually quite a good omen to get sent out first on the launch show, especially if you're doing a fast dance.
Yeah, it's normally proof that they can trust you.
To competently deliver something.
Yes. And that she did. There you go then. You're fine.
So Alex and Neil doing, I suppose, probably the most classy variant of the job-themed dance, where the song has the word kick in it. She used to be a footballer, and then they mention nothing else.
This is my preferred version.
I don't know, Emily had feelings about that. Anyway, we'll get to that later. So I thought this was perfectly competent and really enjoyable to watch. They've got a sweet connection. The song's a proper quick step song, and Alex looked amazing and lovely to see Neil working it out in a suit. But 20.
Yeah, for week one, it was what you would expect. And to sound like Darcy for a minute, because I mean, like, to be about her dress, and I really did love what Alex looked like and what she wore last night. I thought it was really lovely, especially the blue going into the sort of white/cream feathers. I thought that was lovely. The only issue I saw is that she wasn't holding her top line up herself, because every time she dropped down, her arms and shoulders went down and up with her knees. So she just needs to get stronger in her core and her back and just hold herself and she'll be fine. But Motzi and Shirley both mentioned it. And then when the marks came in, I was a bit stunned. It's like, okay, they're being constructive, but they're also being very brutal with their marks this year, it seems like.
The first few, like, everybody before Saffron got a sort of, brave new world of sensible scoring score. Yeah, and then Saffron came in and went, this is loosely scripted reality entertainment television, let's do whatever. Vicky, what did you reckon to Alex?
I agree. It was exactly the kind of standard you expect from week one. Her frame was a little loose, but on the whole, loved the routine that Neil choreographed. I thought it really showed her off well. And I know everyone's mentioned it, but she looked so nice. I couldn't stop actually looking at her, and I thought to myself, if I ever do Strictly, I'd love to look as nice as she did. That's all I could think about.
The moment of faltering on the steps in front of the judges' podium was a weird moment of Strictly looking incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
The stairs kind of bouncing themselves as well.
Yeah. Oh.
It's like, get some stronger nails or Gorilla Glue, guys. Come on, you've got the budget, surely.
It's all just thin
Or get
sheets
Annika
of
to do some phone calls.
It's all just thin sheets of MDF.
Yeah, I thought the step choreography was quite ambitious. That is the sort of thing you're gonna get yourself tangled up over. But she did well, and she didn't hide it as well as she will learn to. But I didn't think she made a total mess of it. I really enjoyed the dance overall.
By the time we got to Mike Bushell scoring 23, I was feeling silently outraged about the whole situation.
Yeah.
But next week, where she definitely won't be going on first, and where she'll probably be given some Latin to do, is when the televote comes in. So another amazing Frock, another nice bit of Neil fun routine, and we'll be getting her through. I don't think she needs to worry about being in the dance-off.
No.
Nah, not yet. Just a final point. Do you think it was a bit weird that they also put a brand new pro in to open the show as well? Because obviously this is Neil's first dance. He's waited 4 years, so I just thought that was a bit weird. Because surely he was going to be nervous as well.
No.
Does Neil get nervous?
Side note, Neil sent a really sweet tweet out either last night or this morning about, thanks for all the nice comments, but it's not all about me, it's about my wonderful partner Alex or something like that, which I thought was a very nice sentiment compared to some people.
There's actual hot hands in this cottage kitchen. Alex has been using her match of the day lanyard to get Neil a nice hello message from Jordan Henderson. So yeah, it's lovely. Right, okay, so that was Alex and Neil, who I don't know whether they are podcast mascots this year or not. They're sort of approaching that status. Let's move on. Dancing the cha-cha-cha and taking a DNA test where it turns out he is 100% that bitch. It's Chris Ramsey and his partner Karen.
I wasn't expecting that joke.
Okay, so in terms of how the songs get doled out, somebody was always going to be dancing to Juice.
Yes.
What do we think about the comedian and Karen getting Juice?
I think it plays more into Karen's personality now more than Chris's, because that song is pretty much about owning it and being like, it's not my fault, I'm so great sort of thing. Which seems to be like how Karen is, more power to her.
It is not
so
Karen's
it was weird
fault that she's so great.
No, so it was weird Chris getting that.
Yeah, it is a bit weird for Chris getting that.
that would be like a Michelle song or, a diva, not a dad dancer who admits he shouldn't be really on this program. Yeah. The only big issue I had with it was Rule 1 of Latin, which he did heel lead from the start and he didn't stop. But he was trying really hard. You could see where Karen has worked from and what they've been working on, because he was really committed to it and was confident in the steps he was doing. He was just doing the steps wrong. And I thought this was quite harshly marked because, okay, yes, heel leads are quite a big slap on the wrist, but he wasn't terrible.
How do you, when you're learning Latin, stop doing a heel lead? Like, how do you, if you're going into dancing and you're not really aware of what part of your foot you're walking on, how do you train somebody to not do heel leads?
Beatings.
I would probably say, think of it as almost like you're tiptoeing. So you put your toe first, you leave the front of your foot, not the back of your foot. So then obviously that part's going to go first, and then the rest of your foot goes down, followed with your heel landing last. But you're just sliding onto it and pushing instead of just going clump.
So a bit like what Amy was showing Karen in the training footage on Instagram, where she was getting him to really push into the ground.
Pretty much. Chris just needs to spend 2 hours with Amy. Oh, God, can you imagine Amy and Karen working on Chris? Oh, the poor lad would not get out alive.
I can't remember, was he wearing appropriate shoes in practice?
Let me consult the spreadsheet.
I don't think so. I think that's why he was so flat-footed.
Because, obviously, I don't do Latin or ballroom, although I'm attempting to drag my husband to it. I'm a tap dancer, and I started off in basic tap shoes, which have a heel, but it's low, and then I went up to proper tap shoes, which have a heel, and it's astounding how quickly I learnt not to heel lead in tap when I moved into those shoes, because I was forced forward. And I feel like that might not have helped if he was wearing flat shoes in practice.
Yeah, it's almost like the shoes were designed to help the dance.
Well, yeah, they are.
Quite. Meg, the settings are now changed. You can back off the mic.
Okay, sorry.
The costuming and theming. So they were supposed to be in New York on a street.
I was deeply upset by that jacket. Deeply upset.
Why wouldn't a jacket not have a back in it, though? What makes something a jacket?
It was upsetting.
Apparently the shoulder pads.
Yeah. Woo! The 80s called.
Topologically, it was a jacket.
From the front.
But sometimes you're a bit warm and you don't need all of the back of a jacket. It's like, sometimes people have gilets.
But a gilet covers your body, it just doesn't have sleeves.
Maybe she just had cold arms.
It was upsetting.
The torso was clearly fine because she was wearing a lime green lace body, so...
well insulated there.
Just the arms. And then Chris's shirt. I wouldn't be shocked to get something like that very similar in his own personal closet, because it was just, where do you look?
Is that what you
Not
wear when you're
directly at
failing
it.
at stand-up?
But maybe the message of this is that Chris is not 100% that bitch, but Karen is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Chris will become that bitch.
He might become 50% of that bitch. I think that's a goal you can strive towards.
Vikki?
Aside from the jacket, I don't know. I thought this was quite undermarked. Really, he's not great, but it wasn't terrible, and he was trying very hard. Most interesting thing else I can think to say is that on Instagram I saw Karen's boyfriend singing an operatic version of Juice, which I really enjoyed.
Yes.
Oh my god, I have not seen that.
What? This I need to listen to as soon as this is over. What?
Yeah, go straight on her Insta stories.
Oh my god.
Amazing. The thing with Juice, though, it is one of those cross-generational ones. I think it's one of the few songs that they've been playing across all of the music playing BBC stations, because they play it on Six Music. It's been on Radio 1, and they can get away with it on some Radio 2 shows.
The really late night ones.
No, during the day. Like Strictly, it's one of those things where they're saying, it can go across all of the demographics, and maybe they're hoping for Chris Ramsey to cut through all the demographics. I don't know, I'm reaching. Dancing the Viennese waltz while committing to vomiting in a loving and romantic way. It's Kath Tildesley and her partner, Johannes.
Johannes! South Africa represents! Woo!
I just really feel quite heavily that Kath is one of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel particularly connected to Kath because she's a Northern lass and I am an honorary Northern lass. I'm also South African, so I'm always going to be Team Johannes. Woo! And Team Oti, obviously, but, you know.
Viennese to 70s stuff hasn't always... Oh, it's 60s. Viennese in polyester hasn't always gone well on Strictly.
No.
The build-up of friction can be quite horrendous.
The sparks are not always the right kind.
But I don't know. It feels a little bit like it was a really nice introduction to their vibe, but also if that was the choice they were going to make on their Viennese, I'm quite glad they've got it out their way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because as much as I love Johannes and Catherine, I wanted to love this dance, I didn't. I got slightly bored, sadly. There was just... I mean, her frame was nice. They moved around the floor nicely. But it was just a bit, for me, meh. And, you know, if this was a night where there was going to be a dance-off, I do think she would have been in danger because, you know, she didn't score great. It wasn't exactly memorable when she was, you know, dance 3 of 15 of a very long show.
Yeah.
For me, very little stuck about this dance.
Yeah, I agree with you, Elliot. I don't remember an awful lot. I'm a little bit disappointed that was like Johannes' opening number on the show, because I think he's way more fabulous than that, to be honest.
They are going to clearly be a riot on It Takes Two.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to that.
And
I'm hoping for like a salsa next week so they can just really just explode and like show us who they really are.
yeah, that'll work out.
I want sassy Johannes every week, basically.
I mean, he is the South African Latin champion, isn't he?
So, yes, they are going to absolutely smack us in the face with some Latin next week.
I mean, the main thing I loved about this routine was Tess, like, thoroughly mumming her at the end.
Oh, yes.
It was
Do you
like
mean
a
the
cross
glittery
between-
sick bucket?
Yeah, it was a cross between mum and, like, the girl that adopts you on a night out in a club when you're feeling really sick.
But while she's
Tess
throwing
is
it
always-
glamorously in a bucket.
Yeah.
The test bot is learning to love. It's developing feelings.
Oh, that could be dangerous.
Oh,
But
bless.
yeah, so it's fine. It will be fine, but we hoped for more, and we think we're going to get it. Dancing the tango whilst taking a break from making so much content. It's Saffron Barker and her partner AJ. I couldn't be bothered to write a joke.
What was this even?
This tango brought to you by Tinder.
Was
Jesus
it?
Christ.
Was it?
Well, it's like the whole matching and her swiping thing. I'm guessing that's what they went for, isn't it? I don't know.
It's a thing that the young people
People
do
do.
with their phones.
Serial killers.
Sorry, can I make one point watching this back? The AJ she matched with wasn't in the clothing that AJ wore on stage. If they're going to go with, like, something that just appears next to her as a dance match, at least be in the same bloody outfit.
What about if we're going with Saffron does app-themed dancers, at some point he's going to have to get into a Deliveroo cube and be...
Or an Uber driver.
No, and be birthed out of a Deliveroo cube. Because the young people do the things with their phones.
The Uber driver's going to go like, it's that thing where you're looking at it on the app and you're like, your driver's there, and you're like, I'm here, and then your driver's like 5 miles away doing like a Yui, and you're like, what are you doing, mate?
That was kind of how I felt about this dance. I felt that it was not good to look at, regardless of whether she was actually doing things correctly or not. It just made me feel very uncomfortable.
I wanted the glittery sick bucket.
It was very manic once they started moving. That was my issue. Like, they needed moments to, like, sort of, like, breathe and stop, and they didn't. And my biggest issue is that her right arm was locked straight, which is my biggest bugbear for the female in ballroom dancing. And she wasn't letting AJ put her head out. Like, she instantly was told, she was also told, put your head out. So she was doing it herself, because you could see herself doing it, because AJ's body wasn't turning to put her head out. So she was leading herself, basically. So why the judges felt this deserved 3 sevens, 2 of it from Shirley and Motzi, I kind of looked at them just like, what have you been drinking, and can I have some, please?
They've booked her for something crucial, and she cannot be allowed to fail. But
she's going to fail, because I don't think she's going to connect to the public.
The VT where she had to try to explain to AJ in words that an AJ could understand what her job was, were any of you any the wiser?
Well, no, because
No.
all the time I was sat there going, AJ's a vlogger now, because of Joe last year, he started doing his own videos, so he understands what talking to a camera is.
Yeah, I mean...
It's not like it was like Gio or Gorka or someone, it's AJ who understands this sort of world.
But he had to pretend to not understand while she pretended to explain to him, and I think it was a very challenging acting role for everybody concerned.
She makes
I mean-
so much content.
You could... Oh, is AJ the new Pasha of Acting? Now Pasha's gone. Oh, Christ.
He's a man of many talents.
If you
He's gonna
can't be
the next age
if you can't be the
Anton.
Pasha of dancing, be the Pasha of acting.
Be the Pasha in your soul.
I do miss
Gosh.
Pasha.
Come back, Pasha.
Well,
We
no,
love you, Pasha.
Well, we trained AJ for Pasha.
every day, all day long. Was this song too fast?
I think it was for
Yes.
someone at her level, and she was galumphing around a bit. Like, AJ needed to have done something about the way she stood up from that twirly bit on the floor, because that was like me getting up off the floor.
A bit like, oh, I should have worn wedges.
Yeah, or like, oh, I'm glad I've got shorts on under my dress. I don't know, it really stuck out for me. And poor AJ's face, with all this wax of the hair, again.
You're showing genuine sympathy for AJ. This
I know.
is weird.
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Have we all fired in on this?
No, I don't think we've heard from Vikki. I think we might
Can we
have
hear
lost
from Vikki?
Vikki.
We can hear from Vikki.
Can you?
Vikki was muted. Yes.
Yeah, I think the main reason the judges thought this was good was because it was very fast and she just happened to keep up, which I think was sort of by accident. And I feel like she will be exposed very shortly. And regarding the VT, there was a moment where she said, "Oh, it's nice that I can show AJ the fun side of my job." And I'm like, what part of your job is not fun? Like, I've watched some of her videos out of research, and it was like, "Oh, I've let my nan buy my clothes for a week." Ha ha ha. Like, yeah, it's very serious. So,
Maybe dealing with sponsors.
It was the line when she said, it's just the line when she said, "I'm your average 19-year-old girl." Saffron, what part of your life is average for a 19-year-old?
Is she 19?
she's born in 2000.
Yeah.
Oh my
She's
god.
19.
She's
I thought she seemed maybe like she was older than that, but never mind.
sorry. I've got freshers coming in that were born in 2000, and I don't know where we're going to put them because we don't have any nursery facilities.
Anyway,
In the
we're
corner.
not hating on the young. The young are lovely.
It's not the young. It's just I don't appreciate the time has moved on.
It's the passage of time, isn't it? The passage of time should get in
Stop.
the sea. Dancing the jive, or at least giving it a good kicking and hoping it stays down, it's Mike Bushell and his partner Katya.
God, he's annoying.
Right, okay, let's let Emily have her 2 minutes hate, and then we'll do the review. Emily, take it away.
The thing is, it's such an irrational hatred. That's what I don't understand, because he's totally inoffensive in every single way, logically, but actually watching him makes me rage. It's not like I don't understand the need for this. I'm a chirpy chappy. Oh, I'm a dad, so I must be a dad dancer. Oh, stop it! Just calm down and learn to dance. It really got my back up. Yeah, but lovely for him. He did very well. Yay.
Damning with faint praise.
Such sincerity.
Craig, is that you?
No.
I see Emily's got my inexplicable grudge this year.
Exactly. Is this me and Charles Ben, but just Emily and Mike Bushell?
I don't often develop an inexplicable grudge, and it's not as bad as the one against He Who Shall Not Be Named. But yeah, it's not great. Just gonna hold my dreams.
So as Meg and I and our friend Jen were coming down from Whitby Abbey, we just left, spooky goth central Whitby Abbey, and we walked past this ice cream van, and this guy, the ice cream van operator, whispers to us, "Ice cream."
Oh, the North is great. The North is wonderful and creepy all at once.
But yeah, is there anything that we can usefully say about Mike's jive?
I have 2 points about this. One, why did it become like a ballad halfway through? Like, what was the bloody point? Because it wasn't funny.
You're too young to understand about jive, Bunny Elliot.
Clearly. And Katya, we saw you become a pretzel with Sean last year, so come up with a different move. Don't tell me she's ran out of moves already.
Oh, it was the bit when he almost dropped her, I think.
Was the
yeah, that's it.
Was the rumour not that Neil was the source of some of the catchy moves?
Well, yeah, they are like show dance champions together, so they do it all together, I'm assuming. But Katya must have more than to recycle it, or I don't know.
Maybe he just couldn't do a new one.
Maybe.
But you only really need to achieve the combo on the controller to get a special move on a televote week. There's no point them doing anything really special on a judge-only week.
It's also possible that she doesn't anticipate he'll be around long enough to learn any more special moves and thought, I'm doing one.
Meg!
Sorry.
I'm going to have to put a squeaky toy noise over that.
I
can reset it without that.
No, it's fine.
And one final thing.
Darn it.
How on earth did 3 of the judges think this was better than Alex or Chris? Like, what did he do that was actually technically better than Alex or Chris?
Well, he came out and gave it a go.
I can only assume that they upped something that should have gone to Bruno to everyone else.
I want to like this partnership. I don't think I'm going to at the minute. And this jive was on par with Katie and Gorka's last year. The difference is Katie was really adorable and gave it a good go. Mike was just flinging his limbs about and seeing what happened. So I'm giving it until Halloween at an absolute maximum at the minute.
Well, he's not going to make it till Halloween.
It's a long evening.
Not if Millie has anything to do with it.
It's a long evening. We have to move. Dancing the cha-cha and doing normal, regular household chores like hosing down rhinos, it's Viscountess Emma Weymouth and her partner, Aljaz.
Aljaz doing the rhinos with the mud. That was so cute.
And feeding the giraffe.
Oh, Aljaz with the animals.
Vote Viscountess for Aljaz with a different animal every week.
Yes.
I mean, I do love a giraffe. Don't know why. Just really love giraffes.
What would be your favourite animal to have Aljaz cuddle?
A badger.
I would. No, they're really bitey. I'd say a meerkat, but I've been near them recently and they stink to high heaven.
Yeah.
Capybara. Do you have any capybaras?
I think, I'm going to keep it vanilla. I would like to see Aljaz feeding sugar lumps to quite a small pony.
Yes.
Oh, that is pretty cute.
A micro pony.
I think I would probably go for Aljaz cuddling a painted dog puppy.
Yeah.
Vicky?
Maybe a little koala.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the dancing, Vicky, how was that?
Oh yeah, that. Oh, and what happened? Her dress was very nice, and she was very elegant actually, and I thought Aljaz had done a good job of teaching her because in the launch show dance I thought she looked a little bit wild and a little bit awkward, so they've refined that quite a little bit, and I think she'll be quite good at ballroom actually. So yeah, strong, steady.
She's in my top 3 for being the destroyer this year.
The song though.
Yeah,
Song.
She's a Lady is kind of a trash song, which it's best not to look at the lyrics or think about it too hard. And it's done. It's over now.
Yeah. I will
Can't
say.
use it again.
I think I've got 3 things about this. 1, I want her sun hat. 2, I'm going to the wrong garden parties because none of mine end up in people dancing cha-chas, and I'm a dancer. And 3, I wanted her to be a bit more wild, especially with her 3 arm, because it was so placed. It was like it was stuck. So it's like she wanted to put it out, but was scared it was going to be wild, so sort of restricted it. But that then made it look like she was nervous. So
that might have just been a sort of an overcorrection for week 1, and you can't be too good in week 1. It's dangerous.
Yeah, I mean,
People hate it.
That gets you into Alexander Burke territory.
We hate it.
But I have really warmed her as a person. She does seem really sweet, polite, and just lovely. So I think they're just going to be a lovely, competent couple going forward. They may be this year's Faye and Giovanni, where if you can rely on one couple to steady the madness, it will be Emma and Aljaz.
Also,
until he dresses up like a bunny or a fox or a koala, because he likes to dress up.
Also, I've been reading about how vile the family she's married into have been to her, and I'm getting a lot of sympathy for her. Dancing the tango and making us all think about finally booking that osteopath appointment. It's James Cracknell and his partner Luba.
Oh no!
Oh, this hurts so much.
Poor Luba.
He really moves like he's in a lot of pain, and
yeah, that's the sad thing. He looks in serious pain, and there's nothing they can do about it, posture-wise. If he's in pain, he's in pain, which makes me think, why has he signed up for this? Did he not think that a dancing competition about ballroom dancing, where they talk about posture a lot, is not good for some of the bad back? And also, did he not think Luba, a dance champion, would have strong elbows and shoulders and a core to do rowing? Seriously, James?
The other thing is that they've not really mentioned at all in any of the promo around Strictly is that he is just on his way back from a traumatic brain injury.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that till then.
He was hit by a truck while cycling across the US.
And I don't know whether that's connected to the back pain thing.
Well,
but
it wouldn't have helped.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would have helped. But yeah.
Oh.
It feels really unfair to put him through a Strictly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like the really painful handbag that Luba was dancing around at some points.
I mean, like Shirley said, the steps he was doing weren't bad. It's just because he couldn't get his weight forward or really commit to them. They just looked really laboured. So if he didn't have this back pain, he would be fantastic. And it's just such a shame. And just for his own health and safety, I I don't want to say eliminate him, but I just feel like the longer he stays in, it may get worse. But people might vote for him because it's so bad. Like, I don't know. Side note: Luba's skirt was fantastic, and I would happily take out the pins in that and have it as a carpet or like a feature wall in my house because that gold skirt was fantastic.
We were discussing this like earlier with the people who we're on holiday with who are not involved in this podcast, and they were like, "How did he get past the insurance for Strictly? I mean, he's had a TBI recently. He's clearly in agonizing pain. How did this? How?
I don't.
Well,
Sorry.
Vikki?
I genuinely don't really think he realised. I don't think he thought about the dancing part, and I say that because, like, when I spoke to him, he all he talked about was like, oh yeah, it's really fun, like hanging out with my these new friends I've got, and like they hadn't been partnered up yet, and his approach to it was very much like, oh, it's like going to school where there's like loads of pretty girls in the class, and I was just like, you don't realise there's dancing coming up.
Yeah, a punishing
agonising
physical challenge. Oh, bless him. Well, I hope he gets good experiences out of it, and if he's enjoying the social side and it's getting him back on the TV and restarting his media work, then all power to him.
But if it's like breaking him, that's not great.
I wouldn't say that what we saw on Saturday night was exactly like a show reel to use for booking purposes.
No.
Unless you're just going to make him sit down carefully.
I am scared for his Latin because that requires a lot of hip and back fluidity, which, not being harsh with his age or anything, I just don't think he can physically do. So depending on what he's got, the producers may mark him to be an easy out. And that's not fair on Luba. We've waited 4 years for Luba, and Luba was fabulous. And she's doing her best. She's working so hard and like overcoming this, and she's being fabulous. And I mean, he's giving it a good damn go as well, but he just physically can't do it. That's the issue. Like, he's in just too much pain, but he's obviously too proud to say it. But you can just see it.
Well, he's an Olympian. They like quite regularly take themselves up to and beyond the pain barrier. So he may not recognise himself that he may do himself damage.
Dancing the samba and just showing off, frankly. It's Kelvin Fletcher and his partner, Oti.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Oh my.
This is very much Oti putting her tanks on everybody's lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie Lang couldn't have done that.
No.
Nope.
With all the will in the world.
He could have tried. It would have looked very awkward and sad. But yeah, this was incredible.
Definitely with a broken foot.
I'm really interested in the reasons why Kelvin was a reserve and not in the main pick. Was he too good? Like, did they think he was too much of a ringer?
They've clearly got their winning marks, and Kelvin's changed that now.
He clearly is too. Well, he clearly is too much. He's definitely too much of a ringer. But I've also heard reservations about his character.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a bad.
I'm not familiar, so.
People who are familiar with backstage in soap have said stuff to me, and I don't know. Like, he mainly seems to be just really into doing his rally driving and not much else.
Vroom vroom cars.
I mean, I like a vroom vroom car.
Everybody's sort of still a bit poleaxed by Oti coaxing somebody into doing that as a week one samba.
Yeah.
That man can move his pecs independently. It's just... what?
I mean, I don't think Oti coaxed him into it. Oti told him he was doing that, and he had no option.
Are you scared of me?
I did love Oti's carnival goldfish orange realness dress. I mean, that was beautiful as well. But
it shouldn't have worked. It shouldn't have worked. Nobody else could have worn that.
No.
But
on anyone else, that would have been, you've pissed off the wardrobe.
It was just amazing. The only thing that made me laugh at the beginning was obviously, when they did a sort of like up, down, arm thing before they did the shimmy. when Kelvin did it on his own, it kind of like he was about to imitate the Karate Kids. And I was like, what's going on here? But then
Wax on, wax off.
in true OT fashion, it worked. It was fabulous. And of course, now OT owns the title of the best week one samba and the best samba ever. Of course she does. She just owns the samba now. It's hers.
Yeah, she owns the samba. It sent me straight to YouTube to rewatch her samba she did with Danny Mac.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm reserving judgment on Kelvin. Incidentally, Vicky, I really liked your other half's tweet.
What did he say?
Kelvin from Oldham.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, if he gets OT to the final, and hopefully to the glitter ball, then, you know, I'm
Long live Kelvin from
I'm
Oldham.
willing... Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything more than we can say about that, other than that we hope his ballroom shirts don't have quite as much nipplage?
It was like the bat suit. It was like a Joel Schumann bat suit.
I mean, he was very loose and free and at times manic almost. So I want to see him do the polar opposite next week, just to see if he can do both sides. I want him to do a foxtrot and American Swing, something where he has to be really disciplined.
I think what he's quite a good example of, and in his training VT, where you could see that he does a lot of work in his pants, sort of using his body as a sort of an artistic element in his acting work. Unlike some of the other men that come onto Strictly, they aren't really in touch with their body, and they've never thought about how they move their body.
They don't go any further than the shoulders.
Yeah, whereas Kelvin thinks about his body a lot.
Yes, you can tell.
Yes,
Independent peck movement.
And yeah, the
It's not
Twitter
something
was
you find out by accident, is it?
No.
Twitter was thinking a lot about Kelvin's body last night as well.
Do you want a really nice
Banana.
do you want a really nice circle of life showbiz thing? You may have seen the tweet, it wasn't mine, but because Jamie Lang had to pull out and was replaced by Kelvin. Kelvin then had to pull out of Panto that he was booked into this Christmas, and guess who Kelvin has been replaced by in Panto?
Kevin from Grimsby.
Robin Windsor.
Tonally, the show is now quite different, but I'm sure it'll be entertaining. Dancing the Foxtrot and thanking his lucky stars that this competition doesn't have VAR, it's David James and his partner, Nadyia. So, one thing I've noticed as somebody who lives in Scotland is that everybody in this year's Strictly is English or American. There's sort of not really any, and now for viewers in Scotland, moments.
Or Northern Ireland.
Or Wales even.
Wales always gets left out.
So, like,
Amy.
going, yay England, bit of a choice. Like, it's a choice that would pass a majority ballot, but like it's not the most inclusive of choices. And I wish that they'd have had the guts to go with an actual 90s goalie top, because some of those, they strobe.
Yeah, I'm. What's his name? I don't really do the football, but the goalie with the long hair.
David Seaman.
David Seaman.
The neon green is still emblazoned in my eyeballs from the 90s.
There were some that were like neon vomit, so you know.
Jazzy
Yeah.
is the word I would.
Usually quilted, if you remember.
Oh yeah.
So they don't get cold.
I mean,
They stood around doing nothing.
So, a foxtrot to Three Lions. How did it go?
It wasn't a total car crash, but at the start, David James definitely had the look of "I'm on the wrong show, someone save me," staring down the camera.
I'm a celebrity, get me out of here.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
No bottoms
bad.
were eaten. It's fine.
He just did a lot of holding Nadyia as she twirled about, so...
But the thing
Yeah.
is, though, what David achieved with Nadyia is actually quite realistic for a beginner foxtrot.
Yes, on the first week.
I thought he moved through the steps. He wasn't dancing them yet, but because he was only moving through them quite often, it meant that he was performing them to a slightly higher degree than what some of the other celebrities did this week.
That was very diplomatic.
Thank you. Occasionally I manage it.
Well done, Emily.
Thanks.
I just think he was slightly doomed.
Vikki.
So going after Kelvin, anyone following that was somewhat doomed as well, so I did feel a bit from having to follow that.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm getting increasingly concerned by how generally kind of absent Nadyia feels. Like, I really want to get to know her, but she just doesn't say anything, and I don't know what to do with that.
It's been 4 years. You still know nothing.
She's just very excited and very pleased, and yes, it's great.
But yeah, she just needs like one gimmick.
Something. Anything.
I did find it quite funny when David James started talking to her about, like, the 96 World Cup, you know, like she gives her.
And she was just like, oh, yeah.
And Nadyia was just dead behind the eyes, glassed over, just thinking about, what am I going to do tonight when this training session's over?
Yeah.
Like, she was
Maybe
not
she's
bothered.
like really good at making pastry. Maybe she is a flower arranger. Maybe she's really good at marquetry.
Maybe she's just really private and doesn't want to give her whole personality over to the telly programme she works
Well,
for.
that is a good point, but you could make up one thing and have that stand in as your character.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a.
I mean, Karen's made food things for 7 years.
Yeah, she could leave a carefully constructed character lying around for us to find.
Yeah, but you know, she's here, she's having a nice time.
Yeah.
Good. Dancing a cha-cha that had everything except a rose petal wig reveal. It's Michelle Visage and her partner Giovanni.
Yes!
Yeah.
Queen.
This stole my line. This was everything. Oh, she was fantastic from the start. Love it.
I mean, we knew that if Michelle Visage was going to have one strictly skill, it was going to be just selling whatever she's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. It was like, it was a very competent routine. There were so many basic steps and like basic figures flowing together. It was very competitive. And like, because they just worked on pure basic, she had like the snapping of the leg and the hip action and, you know, the using of the 3-arm, like all the little details that Strictly kind of ignore now because they're too busy about theming and production, all this. Like, Gio literally stripped it back to the pure basics of dance. And that's what made this work and made it score a 30, because it was nothing complicated. It was nothing showy, because he knew he had a partner that would do that herself. She didn't need a proper gimmick. She just worked so hard and it worked. And, you know, anyone who's able to get Motzi out of her seat halfway through a performance, well done to them.
Also, I think, you know, Gio knew that there's no point in going showy in week one with no televote when you've got someone who can handle showy.
Yeah, just get some points banked.
Yep. And I actually watched back this and then watched Faye's cha-cha, because she did it in week one as well. And it was the same sort of thing. Like, it was a very basic routine with one element that was Faye, which was the tragedy dance, and then it was just more basic. So this is just clearly Gio's path of, let's just get the basic figures right, and then we'll worry about, you know, the public later on. And I do just love how Michelle is now, you know, putting dancing harder than childbirth.
Yes.
Twice.
I also think because she is the Craig of RuPaul Drag Race, she kind of has that that sort of above view of what she's doing and what people are going to say about it, which I think helps her a lot in focusing on what she needs to work on, if that makes sense.
And psychologically, that's going to be a big advantage. Knowing the shape of a reality TV show with a panel.
Incidentally, I would love to see Craig on UK Drag Race.
Instead of
amazing.
AJ and Curtis.
Which, what? Those queens would eat them alive.
It's quite weird seeing Michelle Visage not cinched into an outfit, because obviously she's got to not be fully cinched to be able to move, but the DSI are creating the cinching illusion with the trim, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did love that, like, almost magenta on her. That was really lovely. And I did love how her hair was slicked back into that long ponytail as well. I thought from head to toe and from start to finish, this was just such a complete outfit, idea, dance. Like, it was just so fully realised, and you could tell. And like Kelvin, I just want to see now if she can pull that off in the ballroom, where she is going to be with Gio and doesn't have the free reign to, you know, use her Michelle-isms and all that just to get through it. It was quite a slow cha-cha, so I'm also interested to see how she handles the likes of like a jive or a salsa when it's going to be a bit more punchy. But I'm really happy she was so strong, because, you know, she is someone I was praying for the last month she was good, and she was. So, yay.
It was one of the few routines from Strictly that I think you could see immediately in like a competition world. It was very clear.
Yeah. It was such a good... Well, even, like, you know, like I said, like, the hair, everything about Michelle's dancing and look was competition ready. And that dress will be bought when it goes on sale at DSI, and we will see it at a dance competition.
Dancing the foxtrot and begging and pleading with you to listen to BBC Sounds, it's Dev Griffin and his partner, Diane. I mean, it happened. It happened.
It was a thing. Steps were danced.
If we're so it was better than David James's foxtrot, but I just was not emotionally involved.
I mean, by dance 10 or whatever, you're not going to be, are you?
No. And, you know, might still have been squealing a little bit about
Yeah.
Michelle Visage.
It gave me a bit of a shudder, to be honest with you. That whole 70s theming and radio DJs.
Oh,
When
no.
my brain...
Yeah.
I know, I'm really
Don't
sorry.
do that.
I'm really sorry. It's awful, but that is the route my brain went down. And then I was like, oh, are they trying to, like, take some of the ick out of our...
Emily, you know they won't have thought that hard about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, 70s DJs and the BBC, it's not... a good
Exactly. It
combo.
made me really not happy about that. And it made me then...
Well, the thing is about doing somebody up as a modern radio DJ is that radio studios kind of just look like rooms with some electronics in them, and it's... Yeah.
It could have been more anonymously themed, though. It could have still been a radio studio, but they could have not gone for the strong 70s colouring.
Yeah.
I mean, the panelling looked like it came out of my office.
This is the thing, and it put my initial thought was The Boat That Rocked, and then
Oh, that's a terrible film. Never watched that film.
well, you know,
Too late, I think she has.
Yeah.
I liked the film the first time I watched it, and then Operation U-Tree happened, and it got very ick very quickly.
I will say about the dance, his moving around the floor was really good. He covered the floor with ease. His hold was a bit wishy-washy, but he is nailed on to be the destroyer, because I don't think he's making the final. And Diane, and the VT, this entire 5 minutes of Dev and Diane was the star of it from start to finish. Like, being brutally honest, who was going to vote for Dev apart from maybe a few Joe Sugg fans? Because Joe's going to go, oh, please vote for my girlfriend. You know, he won't. No, he'll say that without saying it. Basically.
Diane now has her own vlogger bounce. When we looked at the YouTube stats, Saffron is leading massively. She's got like 200 and odd. And then it's Diane.
I love you said not Dev then, it's Diane.
It's
Diane.
Diane.
I mean, well done to Dev, but I think it won't be long before he falls into dancer, because I just don't see where enough votes are going to come from. being perfectly honest.
When I originally saw like the lineup and the launch show and everything, I kind of had him down for first out, and I don't think he will be now. But I stand by nothing he has personally done being very memorable. So, and it's all going to come down to Diane. And if he wasn't paired with her, he'd be in a lot of trouble, I think.
Imagine if he was dancing with Nadyia.
Oh God!
Oh, God. It's like a black hole of what just happened.
It'd be Leonardo again, where you just go, what happened? Like, were they there? I will say, though...
The thing is, like, the thing with Lee Ryan, he is a properly weird man, and I can't believe they managed to keep that strapped down during his Strictly tenure.
And to be honest, I'm still not sure that Lee was meant to be on that show. I think he just ended up in the wrong studio.
He just turned up.
Fell in. Yeah. I will admit, it made me laugh last night, because obviously I put out a slight snide tweet about Shirley commenting on his musicality, and I said, as a radio DJ, I'd expect someone to have some musicality to be in that job, and then someone replied with, I present to you Scott Mills, and I was like, fair point. I mean, yeah. I have no answer to that.
It's just playing records and talking in between. Dancing a cha-cha to a song that prompted squeals of utter delight until they changed the lyrics. It's Annika Rice and her partner, Kevin. So, Elliot, you were like laughing along to my tirade about how Annika has to be in a jumpsuit and lowered from a helicopter.
Yeah.
Do you know why I knew that was what it was going to be?
Because that's what Annika is known for, because of Challenge Annika.
Yeah, but you're too young to really sort of feel.
It was before my
truth.
time. I've gone back and seen a few clips of it, and today I was laughing at her laughing about trying to order plywood from a church to the point where she said her phone cut out because she was just laughing hysterically. I'll link it in the WhatsApp group after, because it's 3 minutes of gold from her. But yeah.
Annika Rice just enjoying everything she's doing tremendously. Even that thing with Kevin.
Dancing with Kevin. I will admit their sort of like Baywatch run at the start made me smile. Like if you slowed that down, and with their sort of like big, Kevin's smarmy grin and Annika's pure joy grin, it is really sweet. And she was having the time of her life. Like, and I've never seen someone so happy to get a 3 before. And she's literally said to Kevin, I don't care, it's fine. Well, he's slowly getting offended that the judges have marked him so low. And he's like, I honestly don't care. I'm just having fun. Kevin, please stop. I'm just enjoying myself. Stop it.
The map acting.
And the shoes.
I know that was required to unhook Annika's carabiner from the helicopter ladder.
But
he's been in like 8 West End shows now.
Maybe doing a bit better.
That's a very good point. Cha-cha wise,
she needed to be in heels, but I'm assuming she wasn't because of the injury that she apparently got during the group dance on the launch show.
Oh, my brain went to because of Kate's near miss last year. They're just not risking anything.
I also heard that she was in flats because of the height non-difference.
Yeah, that as well, because she still looks taller than him.
Because she's taller than him, Elliot.
She's
The math does not lie.
She's about half a foot taller than him.
We can't change that physical reality unless
Kevin dances on a box.
in platforms.
In a hole in the ground.
In
I would love to
platforms.
see him try. I would love to see him try. I mean,
In platforms.
Annika had fun. She's just loving being on the show. You know, that it's the right attitude to have. I'm looking forward to seeing her do the ballroom next week. It made me smile. It made me happy. If I was Chris Ramsey, I would be slightly offended that this scored higher than me personally, but otherwise, yeah.
And she started calling him man boy to his face. So.
What a queen!
The tweet earlier. This man boy.
This is like a series of queens. We've got Muxie, we've got Oti, we've got Michelle, and we've now got Annika, apparently.
Like, Strictly really is a show about strong women getting what they want.
Yeah.
I will just say about the jumpsuit she had, I would have liked to have like a belt or something, just because it made her look very straight, like as a figure. And she's got a great figure. More power to you, Annika. She just looked very straight. So I just wanted like a belt or something to make it go in and out a little bit.
Also, in the 80s jumpsuit would definitely have been much more cinched and big shoulders. She didn't have any shoulder pads then.
Karen stole them, that's why.
It was a bit pyjamas by way of jumpsuit.
Anyway, next week, some ballroom.
I'm
and
looking forward to it.
Lovely bit of Kevin magic. Dancing the quick step and missing the tender loving arms of Johnny Vegas. It's Will Bailey and his partner Jeanette.
Aww.
I thought he did a cracking job.
Me too.
Yeah.
But it was also adorable. And I want him in the final. I'm sorry.
He's just really televisual, isn't he?
He's really sweet.
I thought he did well. I didn't like this routine, though. I think it's just Jeanette's choreography I have an issue with.
The main thing that is between him and a really good position on this year's Strictly is Jeanette's choreography.
Yeah.
Because
it does tend to trip people up.
Which isn't good on a dance show, really.
I'm a bit confused about... Because obviously last week we mentioned about how it affects his feet, his condition, and I haven't really looked into it further, but do you think it affects his stride? Because when he was in hold, he was taking really little steps. I was thinking, is it just because there's too many steps, or can he physically not stretch his feet out? But when he was out of hold, he was lifting his knees quite high and everything, so I'm a bit I'm a bit confused about it all.
He talked about a problem with his ankles, didn't he? So...
Yeah. From my understanding, he cannot... it restricts the amount of flexor in your muscles, basically.
Right.
And he's got it in all four limbs, so he's not going to be able to... So large steps are going to be difficult.
Right, okay. Because I was just a bit confused. I mean, he gave it a good go.
In.
Yeah, joint problems in all four limbs.
Yeah, ow. I did love his suit, though. I do love a purple suit.
That was very snazzy.
Yeah, and you were saying, Elliot, that Pencil Full of Lead is quite a popular quick-step song?
Yeah, it's a very popular quick-step on my competitive circuit. I mean, my school play it quite a lot. I think at nearly every comp in the last 5 years it's been played where I've been there. And whenever it's on, we are all just singing along. Whether it's on the floor or not, we're just having a great time to the song because it's just such a happy, upbeat, bouncy song. So he was on to a winner picking that, well, whoever gave it to him in week one. Because it's just a happy, feel-good song. So
to do sort of a competition-style quick step, you aren't just confined to old big band songs to come up with the kind of music that you would dance to in competition. So there's not really any excuse for some of the more obscure dance song pairings that Strictly come up with.
No, there never is.
No, because you have so many modern songs now used, more so in Latin, granted. I mean, there are so many. I mean, The Greatest Showman's, there's a song from The Greatest Showman that's been remixed as a waltz. There's been one that's now used as a samba. There's a song from La La Land that's used as a quick step. We've got all these dance DJs which remix modern songs into dances, into stuff anyway. They don't need to go to the lengths that they do. And you do just have so many solid songs as they are, which don't need changing or sped up or slowed down. It's just fine as is, which is what really frustrates me about Fit Strictly at times.
With my intellectual property rights hat on, because it is something I have a light background in, I suspect Strictly is occasionally hampered by licensing issues. But that also doesn't excuse some of their choices.
Who knows what horrors go on in the song choice wars in the Strictly production office. But yes, Will, very good, very charismatic. Can't wait for Johnny Vegas in the audience and the rest of the Last Leg crew.
Yes.
Long may he reign.
Right.
Dancing the Cha-Cha and winning the surprisingly stiff jumpsuit of the week competition, it's Karim Zelawal and his partner, Amy. Amy, I like seeing your smug face.
You're getting the ringer treatment, Amy.
It's good.
So she knows she's in the final, and she's going to make sure she gets to that final No matter
Is
what.
he too good? Is he too good?
Maybe. It depends if he has a dip mid-season or not. I don't know.
Is he going to Danny Mac himself?
Danny Mac made the final.
I'm a bit worried that, because Aston was like, woo, and then,
No.
But that was Jeanette. That was also Jeanette's choreography.
Amy's a bit smarter than that.
Yeah.
Amy is terrifyingly intense about her desire to perform well this year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Karim is her chariot.
I mean, there was definitely a bit in the VT where there was terrifying Welsh accent lady.
I mean, the dress was... Clearly, they were going for the whole, car shop theme. That was a very interesting dress, and I'm sorry, this is going to sound maybe slightly inappropriate, but where, in the, as we called it, the Winkteria Illusions Lounge, where they cut at Amy, it looked like she just had 2 letter sleeves as her top half, where the ruffling was, and the colour, it just looked like she was wearing letter sleeves.
I mean, they could
It's
be
one of your
used.
5 a day.
Iceberg, Kos, or Romaine?
Oh, surely you'd have to go for, Romaine. It's got a bit more,
Thrill.
I was going for structure, actually. If you get...
I was just distracted by her glow-in-the-dark hair plaits.
Well, audience, if you've made it this far, please tell us what flavour of lettuce you would like to make a bra out of.
But you never think about when iceberg lettuce gets a bit warm and it goes a bit see-through, you wouldn't want to do it.
This is why Strictly needs to be snappier. It was 2 hours in, dance 14, and slightly unwell. I had lost the plot by this point.
Yeah.
Also, Len would not approve of his handspring. Len would not approve of the freestyle he did. He would have got a telling off for that.
Much mucking about. The theming was extremely loose. It didn't really need it. They could have just been doing a dance-themed dance.
Yeah.
About some dancing.
I don't know whether I just wasn't listening, but it seemed to cut straight from the VT to the dance starting, and he was cleaning the car. And was it even set up in any way what they were doing? It was just this is what we're doing now. What was it meant to be?
And the song's not about cars. He doesn't have anything to do with cars in his job.
They just
He's
need
a children's TV presenter.
do dance-themed dances more often.
I like those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me too.
I like a dance-themed dance. But yeah, we'll see you in the final, Karim, and it'll be very nice to watch you getting there. And finally, dancing the jive and opening the portal to the Anton Latin dimension. It's Emma Barton and her partner, Anton.
Must we?
Yes,
He
we
had
have
one
to.
job. One job. And he still got it wrong with a good dancer. Emma is now in danger of going out next week.
Why?
Why?
No, she's not. Absolutely not.
I
Because
think she
he's
is.
got
I'm-
ballroom with her next week.
Maybe that's why they did it like this, but the song was too fast. It was way too fast for a novice to do in week 1. The choreography was okay. Like what Emily said earlier, him ripping off her pinny tabard thing was highly inappropriate. It would have been better if she took it off herself. And who on this planet is getting hot and flustered and wants to have a selfie with Anton Dubek? Not me.
You
Quite a lot of
would
people.
be shocked.
You saying it was the jive for the Me Too movement that she should have removed the tabard herself?
Well, yeah, she should have at least thumped him for taking a tabard off.
So having to ripping it off her.
I actually don't mind Anton's jive. It was fine. I had a big problem with the agency thing of who takes the tabard off, because it just, again, knowing life as we know it now, it jars. But she did all right, and I can only hope that Anton engages his brain a little bit and doesn't go down the route of sending her up the minute things don't go his way, because I feel like that's what he does is if it's not going to go his way, instead of trying to make the best of the situation, he just takes the mickey out of it. And it's we all, anyone that listens to us knows how we feel about that. It's really disrespectful of him.
Is it possible that he just isn't a very good dance teacher?
I
Yes.
think it's been, yeah.
That is possible.
Because it's, he's been, visibly celebrating that he's got a young one who can
Oh,
dance.
so grim.
Yeah.
With their own teeth.
But with their own, yeah, oh God. Well, we don't know whether Emma Barton has got, extensive dental. She could have a bridge. But it's like he's forgotten to teach her.
Yeah.
There were really horrible moments where, like, his back was turned and she was
flailing.
out of hold, and she just looked really lost and alone.
Yep.
I have a question about, Shirley's critique was that her weight was in the wrong place, and she was quite harsh about the stuff she was saying. Is that a fault of Anton's there? I think Elliot would know the answer to this. Is that is his fault for not teaching her the right technique?
So Shirley's critique was saying her weight was in the wrong place. She needs to be more forward, and that's why her kicks are wrong. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because as a dance teacher, you would tell them to commit onto the standing leg, and you commit them to get their weight forward. As long as you keep your head up, your head's in your weight for gyro should be to be blunt, your boobs should be forward, your chest should be out, so you have your forward weight over your legs, and your head should be up. So that is
And your bum
Anton,
tucked
because
under.
a novice isn't going to know how to do that. Basically, you need to puff your chest out like a robin and stand tall, and that's how you keep your balance and your strength in your legs and jive. And that's Anton's fault for not saying, because if someone walked in and said, teach me how to dance a jive, they wouldn't naturally think to stand like that, upright with the shoulders square and with their chest out. They would just, be quite hunched over, quite loose and bobbing about. And, she was quite upright, so she was almost there. But yeah, if Anton just, maybe worked on it a little bit, or was maybe just a bit harsher when her frame did fall, she would know instantly to go into that position again. Basically, Giovanni needs to teach her for a week.
Is criticising Anton's teaching directly is not really going to happen.
No.
And even if it did, he would just be like,
Pay no attention.
you should have given me better material. But criticising him indirectly via giving a detailed technique critique to his partner, is that going to be effective?
We can hope.
Maybe.
I mean, Shirley does like to do that. Because I remember with Lauren and AJ last year when he jumped over her, Shirley made it very much about Lauren was the actual fundamental part of that, and her core strength, and it had nothing to do with AJ. So she's very good at maybe making a dig at the professional that they'll listen without offending them to their face directly.
Oh,
But I think Anton's so full of his own... Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it is just that thing of she uses that opportunity to give the professional the critique. It's not necessarily having a dig, it's taking it straight down to the point of this is actually the problem.
Yeah, having a dig is what Craig does, but what Shirley does is say this is the specific technical point that cost you marks.
Yeah.
But the sad
And
thing
the
is,
only person who can control that, who can work on that, is the pro.
But the sad thing is, though, when the score came in of 23, Anton instantly said, it takes me about 3 weeks to get to that. So he's going to see this as a success. And that's like the worst bit. It's like, it takes me 3 weeks to get to this score. Yes, but Anton, you could have got so much higher if you just tweaked and changed one or two things. And, Emma has the potential to be a finalist. She really does. She's got the look. She's good. You can see it. It's just Anton putting the work in. I'm expecting her ballroom to be beautiful. That's because Anton loves his ballroom and will really work on that. It's the Latin that's going to cost her from what it looks like.
Oh my
Sadly.
god!
Oh, the rumba.
And I did love her. I did love her dress, but I did want it in a different colour. I just think it was just a bit meh for a jive. I just wanted it nice bright, like red or yellow or something.
Do you want to remind people that the Rumble with Katie Derham was pretty nice, but I feel like that was 95% Katie Derham.
Yes. And did anyone spot this mythical, never been seen before and Strictly move?
It might have been ripping the tabard off.
It was the really grim one where he had her gyrating into his crotch.
Oh, grim, yes.
Yeah, there was that I didn't like. I don't need to see that on TV. That was Anton, just stop.
Not in a jive.
Stop.
Okay, here's an idea. We get Gorka in. Gorka choreographs the routines for Emma and Anton, and they just dance them. That way Anton has no input.
That would literally never happen.
Yeah, I mean,
I can dream.
nice idea. Nice idea.
Anton's dead body.
It's not happening. So that was all of our dancers.
Finally. There's some epic table dancing going on here.
And here.
Before we all run off into that beautiful night, we've got a bit of admin to do. We need to talk about Frocks of the Week.
Michelle.
All right, you've voted, Meg. Emily?
Luba.
Ooh. Elliot?
I'm stuck between two. Screw it, Alex Scott, but Michelle was a very close second.
Vikki?
Alex Scott with OT runner-up.
I'm giving my vote to Alex as well. So that is a clear lead with Alex Scott winning the first Frock of the Week.
Oh, the glittery noise. I've missed it.
Congratulations to DSI knocking it out of the park again. So any final thoughts other than do we prefer it when they do this over 2 nights?
Given that we have to go through it once again next week, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will admit,
There's that.
for week 1, we were spoilt. The standard was actually very high. And when you look at the marks from last year to this, 4 acts beat the highest scoring dance from last year on week 1. So it's a high standard. Ish.
It is.
It just feels like a millennium.
Yeah, it kept me entertained on my coach journey home, but if I was just sat at home watching it, it would have been epic.
I got quite a lot of knitting done.
I just want to have really strong words with Anton and Jeanette and be like, you have talent, please use it wisely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
don't let us down. We were rooting for you.
One thing I did notice...
Don't let your celebrities down.
I did notice... Did anyone find it a bit weird that when Tess introduced the couple, they didn't cut them into the clauditorium, and the audience kept trying to clap, and wait, we don't have the filler to clap anymore. Whoops. Because normally you used to cut them for like 3 to 4 seconds stood there, and maybe, I don't know, they just dropped that. I don't know if it's for the entire series or what, but...
Speaking of things that have been silently dropped, Couple's Choice.
Oh, has
Is it gone?
I've not heard anybody say anything about it.
That's
Please let it be
fine.
dead.
Maybe
Please let it be dead.
Maybe they're going to try and sneak it back in.
No.
But yeah, so keep an eye out and see whether you hear any rumbles about Couple's Choice, because I think it's gone, and I think that people will only be able to skip one proper ballroom and Latin dance this year.
I suspect, however, we are still stuck with the insert dance here thon.
Of course, the
Because-
thon, because it allows for a distribution of points that's largely arbitrary at a point in the competition where sometimes you just need to give somebody a kick.
Yeah.
I have one final thing to add, which was, you know how last year I was obsessed with Ashley's Roots and I had like Ashley's Roots watch. This year my
Yes.
equivalent is Motzi's Nails. I'm already obsessed with her acrylics, gunmetal grey nail thing going on, so I will be commenting each week on what she's got going on.
Very serious
Exactly.
business. Yep. All right, so that only remains for us all to say good night. Good night, Emily.
Good night.
Good night, Elliot.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night.
Vikki. Good night, Meg.
Good night.
And good night from me, Ellie. This has been the Keep Dancing podcast. I'm sure you're going to tell everybody about it, but I'm also sure you're going to keep dancing.